Happy Tuesday, boys and girls. I've been looking forward to this one for a while. First of all, let's get the cold beer. Now, let me show you all this beer. I've been meaning to mention this on a short non-alcoholic Mich Ultra. I don't want to lose my reputation, but when you get my age, you can't drink every day. Well, you can, but you're going to have some issues. One of my best friends has been through it. I won't give his name. And I have had pancreatitis in the past. My dad's had it. I don't have it, but I'm making sure I don't get it. I've been drinking these for a straight week. You'd be surprised how long a 12-pack will last. Hell, a regular 12-pack won't last but 2 days, and I have had one not last but one night. Not very often, but it's happened. But these things, they just keep on keeping on, and they're actually good. See, Ellie Mae wants to drink. Ellie, move, baby. You're going to be panting in my microphone. My life on the short bus, boys and girls, and I've got some stories to tell. 1977 to 1987. Well, the first 2 years of grade school for me, first and second grade. By the way, my wife wasn't even born until after my first grade year was over, but we won't worry about that. She points out how old I am all the time. My mama took me back and forth like normal children. The third grade, my mama, who's been dead since 2020. All right, to get her on here because she was nuts. She, and sometimes not in a good way. She, calm it down, girls. Y'all go chase something. She drove the short bus, the mini bus. And so I had to get up at 8 years old in the third grade. I had to get up at 5:30 in the morning to ride the short bus to school. Now, boys and girls, they put two-way radios in these buses, and there was a damn good reason for that. You had issues. You had kids that parents called that they weren't going to go to school that day. All different things would come up. Move it! I got to get these bitches off me. Move it! I can't lock them in the house because they'll drive Sarah insane wanting to get out here with me. So she drove the bus. Well, now they called them LD, learning disabled, special ed, retarded. It was the 70s. People weren't nice. Special needs and all that good stuff was coming, but not during my time in school. So you had the slow kids, the learning disabled, the hyperactive. There wasn't no ADD or ADHD or whatever all them lettered crap. If a kid was hyperactive, they stuck him in a class full of people just like him and, pray for the teacher that she didn't go insane and kill them all, which didn't happen. I'm just being silly. But so we had a bus full of all kind of kids, and me, the blind boy. Well, we took a radio and listened to it. And the reason I mentioned them two-way radios, they didn't come till the next year after my mama drove. It's hard to remember a whole lot. I remember some kids on the bus. I remember getting on the bus and singing a song I learned that went something like this: suck my D and call me Nick. I didn't know what it meant, and I was singing it, and the slow kids that were older, we had middle schoolers, they knew exactly what it meant. They would laugh and laugh, and Mama had to explain some things to me that night, and she proceeded to give me some other words that I might hear that I wouldn't say, so I got a tutorial on cussing. F-bombs and everything. I don't know that was the right way to handle it on her part, but that's the way she went. But early 30s, that's the way she chose to handle it. Bless her heart. God rest her soul. But of course, it was during this time, or it may have been the year before, that and a lot of people know this, it's about to go to a lot more. For some reason, and this didn't happen on the school bus immediately. That was just rude. I decided to put cinnamon Tic Tacs up me butt. Now, I don't know why I did it, boys and girls. Mama's question was, son, why? Now, I know that sounds ridiculous, but I was only in 12th grade. No, I was a little bitty kid. And she had to get out and give me an enema because, they burn in your mouth. Well, you should try them in the other end, boys and girls. I can't believe I just told y'all that, but it is the Blind Man Live. I try to be honest. It's the best policy. Too many people know this story already, and now, well, it ain't going on Facebook or Twitter. We'll leave it like that. One thing I do remember on the short bus, there was a little girl behind me. I'm not going to give her name, although I do remember it, her first name. Well, Mama figured out that hers was stealing my lunch. It would be under the seat. It would be dark. Mama was driving the bus, and hers was taking food and eating it. So Mama, in her infinite wisdom, decided she would make a little surprise for this chick, this little girl. She's a little bit older than me. She took a little Debbie cake and filled it full of hot pepper. Yes, hers did. That would probably put her in jail now. It would definitely got her fired. And that poor kid, she was back there panting like a dog because there wasn't nothing to drink all the way to school. And unfortunately for her, she wanted a early breakfast snack of that Debbie cake, so she had to deal with it for a minute, as the kids say. And it was bad. I mean, but Mama, I had mentioned Mama was a little bit nuts. It wouldn't be nothing for her to hit the brakes when they were raising hell, the kids, and me right there with them probably. Hit the brakes, about sling them all over the bus. The ones that didn't have on their seatbelts would just go flying around and yell and scream at them and refuse to drive till they would shut up. Reminds me of the Cheech and Chong skit, Sister Mary Elephant. If y'all haven't heard it, go dig it. I can't play it here, but it's hilarious. But so she fixed up a little Debbie and tortured some little girl. But you know, boys and girls, she never stole my lunch again. No, she didn't. Maybe she thought that that's the way I like my food. I can't imagine that. All right, that's about all I can remember. I do remember getting stuck in the snow. It seemed like the February of 1978 was a bad year for snow. No radio. She had to leave the bus. You got to remember, these kids are hyperactive. They're just wild children. Middle school and grade school. Thankfully, no high school kids. And she'd have to when the bus got stuck, she'd have to walk to the nearest house early in the morning and hope they'd let her use the phone to call it in. Needless to say, we'd be there a while. But Mama could make them mind. Oh, yes, hers could. Hey, Ellie Mae. All right, 113. Let's see if I set my beard on fire. Or set one of these puppy dogs on fire. Look at there, I got it done. Fourth grade and fifth grade. I talked to a buddy of mine who doesn't wish to be on the video, and he was on this bus with me. He can see a little bit, which is more than I can. Because I defy any of y'all to say you're blinder than I am, because it ain't possible. I got the old plastic eyes, don't you know? Or as the little kid said, plastic eyes. I got plastic eyes. But her name was Bessie Massey. And she was all right. I don't know, she's probably in her 30s, maybe early 40s, so we thought she was ancient. She let us, I gave her a radio to listen to in the front of the bus to put on the dash. So for Christmas, I got a headphone radio. Now, that ain't what y'all would, some of y'all, and y'all, if y'all are older, know what a Sony Walkman. Well, this was pre that. The first one I had, like a spaceman headset. I mean, it was a big old headset that covered your ears, and it was only on AM. Now, I upgraded in 1979 and got one that was AM and FM. Now, it wasn't in stereo, but it did have FM on it. So I was a big dog then. And, you know, there were arguments on the bus and this and that. But my good stuff don't come to high school, so we'll zip by 4th and 5th grade. I had to get up at 6 a.m. through 12th grade, so 8 o'clock classes weren't that big of a deal in college. I tried to avoid them, but they weren't a big deal because I'd been getting up at 6 a.m. since I was 8 years old. So, 6th grade bus driver, Beverly Bruce. She's a sweetheart. She's on Facebook. I don't know if she's seeing these videos. I hope she does. At least this one. But I only had her for 1 year. She's a real sweet chick. 24 years old, so naturally we thought she was old because we were 11. But she was 24, and she took me and a couple of the kids to the mall and to the record store. I remember I had them play Double Dutch Bus for me. I didn't buy the record because I borrowed it and recorded it. Of course I did. But I had them play it at the record store. You could actually do that back in the day. You could go to the record store, pick a 45 or even an album if they had it open, and they'd let you listen to it before you bought it, if it was open. So did I let my cigarette go out? I can't let this interrupt my pontifications here. All right, move to 7th grade. Miss Ryland, Regina Ryland, another 24-year-old chick. And she was cool. I got my jam box in 7th grade, my first one, 1982. Look, 113, I done it again. So, I'm quitting next week. I've quit a bunch of times, but I'm quitting again next week. I'll keep y'all up on it and see if I can actually pull it off. Not much happened that year. She let me blast my jam box. She took one of the kids to a Clemson game. She let me go to her house and go swimming one time. She was a cool chick. Don't know what happened to her. But from 8th grade through 12th, I had an awesome bus driver. Troy Hannon, or Hammond. I honestly can't remember. I think it was Hannon. He died not long after I graduated, so there's no way for me to figure out what his last name really was. This dude was a World War II vet, and he must have been Navy Marines because he had the tats. He was in his 60s, so we thought he was a big old antique. He was my grandparents' age, if not a little older. But he was a hot mess. This was way before COVID, but he had this fear of getting sick. So he put the windows on the bus down year round. It could be 85 degrees, and it was in late May sometimes, and it was smoking hot, burning up. I'm sure the kids have air conditioning now. We didn't. Or it could be 30 degrees. And them windows was going to be open, and I sat in the back, so all the breeze got back there to me. I'm surprised he didn't give me the pneumonia or something from that cold-ass air. Now, Hims went to wrestling every Monday night. I think my good friend Robert saw him there a couple of times. I'm pretty sure he did, actually. But he went to wrestling. And boys and girls, Hims would check out the high school girls. Talk about the ones with the big boobs, the ones with the big butts. He wanted to make sure the blind kid knew, because I was the only blind kid at that high school. I've talked about that. So he told me all about them, and he was in his mid to late 60s just looking at the high school chicks. Now, one thing that's amusing is if he didn't like somebody, they were a communist. Martin Luther King Jr., communist. And one of my good friends on the bus joined the Mormon church. I think he's still a member. I haven't seen him in years. I don't know if he's seen his videos. I'm not going to say his name. But he had cerebral palsy. And I could understand him. I mean, we could all understand him. But the bus driver couldn't. Plus, he was in the back in his wheelchair with me. And the bus driver got to hammering on the Mormons. And my boy was just blasting him, cussing him, just laying him out. And the driver couldn't understand what he was saying. we all knew what he was saying. Oh, boy. But boys and girls, it got harder to be cool. You think about it. Most of y'all were driving to school by 11th or 12th grade, some in 10th. My homie here was riding the short bus. And, well, I did everything I could. I played my acoustic guitar on the bus. I took my electric guitar on the bus when I'd be going home with somebody. Like me and Joel Forrester were dating chicks that were good friends. And one or both of them girls may be watching these, I'm not sure. But they know who they are. I think one of them asked for I think the one I dated asked for the YouTube channel. So a shout out to her if she's watching. I seen her at a funeral. She knows who she is. But so I'd take the guitar over to his house and hook up with some more of the headbangers with the long hair like I had. And I come off that short bus with a Led Zeppelin jacket that you heard about from Mike Sanders, who will be back tomorrow if all goes well for some more 1988 discussions. Man, that bird's loud. I don't know if this mic's picking it up or not. But so I had the hair flying, the earring dangling out of my ear, and the Led Zeppelin t-shirt, the Led Zeppelin jacket, the Ozzy shirts, all the, rock and roll t-shirts, Hank Jr., said Whiskey Bitten Hellbound on the back. But I was still getting off the short bus. It's rough when you're talking to a hot chick in 12th grade when you're 18 and the short bus pulls up and you say, oh, I got to go. The short bus is here. But what are you going to do? I made the best of it. Now, one story stands out to me because it's hilarious. I had some deaf kids on the bus, and I actually was friends with them. We learned how to do signs in my hand where I could understand we communicate. Now, these kids were skinny. And I only weighed 135, but I took weightlifting with Robert and Joel Forster and some other kids in 11th grade. James Bird, Alex Payne, and Stacy Berger. I wonder what happened to all them kids. Pretty sure Mike Johnson probably knows where Stacy is. But anyway, they're all football players, and a few of us just took it for fun, like me. And So I was a little stronger, so I'd rough these kids up. Mr. Hannon would be out using the wheelchair ramp and had to go up and down on a motor, and it was slow. And we'd have a wrestling match going in the back of the minibus, and I'd be whooping their butts until they brought in the reinforcement, boys and girls. Big Carl, we'll just call him that. I remember his last name. I'm not going to say it here, but anyway, Big Carl. It was also a weightlifter and a lot bigger than me. Well, they had him waiting one day. Of course, I didn't see he was there, so I come trucking in the bus, had a rough day, went to sling a deaf kid, and all of a sudden I was getting my ass kicked. The problem was Big Carl pinned me with his legs, and they were strong legs. And I couldn't breathe, and I was trying to yell, "Uncle," but nobody could hear me, especially him, the one that was kicking my butt. So the old man's running the wheelchair ramp. Everybody in the bus that's already on it's just busting laughing because we're all friends. I mean, we had to be. Only handicapped kids in a mainstream high school in the 80s. So he's whooping my ass. And he finally, I guess he figured the blind kid had enough, and he got off and, let me up so I could breathe and didn't have any broke ribs or anything. And me and the skinny deaf kids, well, Phil and Stan, we came to an understanding that I wouldn't rough them up and they wouldn't bring Big Carl to rough me up. But I done the best I could. I was mainstreamed, only blind kid in the high school. Everybody knew who I was. I'd be running down with a Braille typewriter. Perkins Braille hadn't changed much in 100 years. I had my arm stuck out with books and that big machine in my hand, and if they see me coming, they'd try their best to get out of my damn way because I couldn't see them, and I had that cane slinging. By 12th grade, I knew more about the school than the kids. Freshmen, I even showed some freshman kids how to get to their classes. But apparently, I hit a few people, and I'd hear books flying. I mean, just a complete bust, as we called it back then. And I'd say, "Oh, sorry, man," or sometimes it was a chick. "Sorry about that," and just keep on trucking. Now, every once in a while, I'd get cocky and go charging down the ramp. Y'all that went to man know it was outside. The school was on a big old hill, apparently. And they had these brick columns, and more than once I headbanged one of them columns, and that hurt. I mean, it hurt bad. And a couple of people, girls behind me, like, "Aw," and I wouldn't even flinch. I'd just keep charging. But I decided to use my cane the way it was intended to be used, so I wouldn't bust my damn head. Apparently, I had a couple of kids in the nads, or D's nuts, as we say, with that typewriter. And, it was never done to me, but apparently that wasn't a pleasant experience for them. So, needless to say, if I was freelancing, which means I wasn't holding the shoulder, but walking through the school, I was trucking on my own, the kids would get out of my way. I've even heard stories. Mike Sanders did work with a guy, Mike's retired now, that said I was mean and hit people with my cane. Well, I didn't do it unless I needed to. I wasn't like that. I was a good blind boy alive at that point. Y'all should try these non-alcoholic beers. They're really not bad, honestly. But that's about it. 10 years on the short bus, and I was as cool as I could be. I was going to hold that Led Zeppelin jacket up, but the wife says she's got a picture of it she can attach to this video. So I'm going to close it down and go in and get my Bluetooth speaker and blast some old country, the new Waylon record. I think I hadn't heard it in 2 days. It's time to give it another listen while I pretend like these beers are getting me lit. It's going to have some special candy earlier because that actually, I can keep eating those. Can't pass a drug test, but there's no reason for me to ever take one. So y'all have a good night. I hope you enjoy this. If I left stories out, I'll do it short and include them, but that's about it. There was other deaf kids I got to be good friends with. The kids with cerebral palsy. I hate to end on a sad note, but the kids with muscular dystrophy, I had a good friend. He swore I took his girlfriend in 8th grade and told everybody that and got me in trouble. His name was Chris. A lot of y'all know him. He died. We had 4 kids die from MD our senior year. It was horrible. These kids would be all chubby and fat in middle school and be nothing but skin and bones by high school. And that really sucked. But they were such good kids. And they were smart kids. But the kids with cerebral palsy, they're still around. I know the guy I alluded to is still, I think he lives out in Arizona. Not sure if he's on the YouTube, but if his sister or somebody sees this, tell him about it. I'd love to see him. I know we were both at a Clemson National Championship game in Arizona, the first one that we lost to Bama, but of course I didn't know where he was, or there's no way I could find him in that mob of people. Girl, now when I quit this video, they'll leave me alone. I swear these dogs are divas. Everybody have a great night. Should be doing something in the morning. That'll be a lot of fun. Mr. Sanders, 1988, more of the college years, more stories. We got to talk about our summer jobs. He's got to talk about JUCO football versus high school football. Who knows what we'll stumble into tomorrow, but if he wanted to come today but couldn't make it, hopefully he'll be here tomorrow and we'll knock it out. Y'all have a great night. I'm going to hopefully hit the stop button. If it doesn't work, my wife can clip the video. So good evening, everybody, from partly sunny, partly cloudy South Carolina. We'll get this video uploaded, and I hope y'all enjoy it.